gentlemen, it is time for the latest expansion-packed episode of the Switch It Up show. And if you couldn't tell, ladies and gentlemen, I have been eagerly and happily watching Season 4 of Rick and Morty on Hulu and HBO Max because I'm a big fan. I'm Seth Trav, your host today, joined as always by our friend Glenn.
How are you today, kind sir?
I'm doing okay. The game I played, it's a little rough.
Oof.
A little bit rough. Made me say, oh my gosh, because the game was Gorsd.
Oh.
That's right. But before we get into the odd pronunciation,
Yes.
we're going to let these sweet beats ride. Anamanaguchi, ladies and gentlemen, which is easier to say than the name of the game that I played today, which again is Gorsd. Not Gorsd, like Goofy, but Gorsd. Gorsd. It is $16.99, and you get 85 gold coins when you purchase it on the Nintendo eShop. Intense area combat set deep inside the heart of darkness. Discover the story of Gorsd alone, or enter battle with up to 4 friends in local multiplayer. Born from a womb eye, you discover a world seething with challenges created by an unknown power. For what purpose were you created? Uncover the truth of the Gorsd. You have just one bullet, fire it, control it, and collect it. 7-hour single-player game set in a large overworld containing more than 60 battle stages. Stupidly fun 1 to 4 player couch multiplayer. 8 multiplayer game modes with modifiable rules set over 21 maps. Strategize by not only thinking about where you need to go, but also where your projectile needs to go. Game specifically designed to stop you from terminal boredom and enrich your life permanently. The Gorsd will never leave you. It's from our friends over at Spring Loaded. And again, it's available now. Ladies and gentlemen, this game is bizarre. It's weird. It's kind of creepy. It's got an odd sort of Chinese dragon feel to it. And also a little bit of like Alien, maybe a little bit of that H.R. Geiger vibe. It's odd. It's a very odd sort of overarching story that revolves around you sort of exploring these ruins and trying to sort of find out where you came from and how you got there and who is God or Gorsd. The storyline is weird and it's interesting, and it's neat that they did try to put a story in here because it does kind of make you want to keep going. The actual gameplay of it, I would say it's a combination of Bomberman and Pac-Man, which sounds like it would probably be pretty cool. But the game itself is very, I want to say, cumbersome to play. I had a difficult time playing this. They tell you that you have this one bullet to shoot, and you can steer it, and you can move it and everything, but you can't really. I had the hardest time getting it to turn the way I wanted it to, or to go down. I'm like, when do I have to hold the stick down to make it move? It's not going anywhere. It's like you got to fire it before you got to place the direction before you fire it. But even that didn't seem to work sometimes. All while you're trying to move around and keep sort of painting space in your color while like a couple different NPCs are running around you. Which brings me to my second kind of gripe about this, and it seems like a flaw that a lot of these sorts of games that I'm playing on the Nintendo Switch have, is that it doesn't have online multiplayer. I don't know why. It seems perfectly designed for that sort of thing, especially if you're into these sorts of like battle arena-ish type games, because it is neat, and I think if the shooting worked a little better, it would be good and it would be fun. But overall, it's like it frustrated me to a point that I didn't want to play it anymore. I didn't want to keep figuring out this story. however weird and enticing it might be. Because it is weird. Like I don't. It's hard to it's hard to put into words without giving like too much away. But you should definitely check out my gameplay of it to see how frustrated I got and how bizarre the experience will be. At $14, excuse me, it's $17. I think that's a bit pricey for this. I really do. I think if it was $6.99, I could say maybe. But overall, for me, it wasn't that fun of a time. But, you know, I respect that they try to do something new in a very saturated puzzle action kind of market. It's difficult, you know, to think of like new puzzle ideas. Like, when are you going to figure, like, who's coming up with the new Tetris? You know, who's coming up with that? My dude Glenn. He's got the $1 million idea. He's holding it out on us.
My game is the $1 million idea.
Oh my God. Well, on that, ladies and gentlemen, let me give this a 2.5 out of 5.
Ooh, well, let's see if we can't do a little bit better in the puzzle game forefront with Puddle Knights from the wonderful, kind, caring people at Lock Pickle Games. Lock Pickle. Puddle Knights is available on the Nintendo eShop for the low price of $9.99, and you are eligible for 50 golden coins when you make this purchase. Solve your way through 100 puddle puzzles, a mud-based puzzle game where you arrange snake-like capes of chivalrous knights to cover puddles and other hazards. Help the nobles reach their goal in this light-hearted medieval mind muck. Key features include 100 plus head-scratching levels of increasing difficulty, with a playtime ranging between 10 and 35 hours. You get to step on heads, tear up capes, hold down drawbridges, and perform other inventive tactical maneuvers. A fresh take on logic puzzles, no pressure plates, and keys to collect or boxes to push. Mistake-making experimentation enabled by undo and reset. And there's no rush, there's no time limit. All the time in the world to think and analyze for one player. A puzzle and strategy adventure. So, basically, I'm going to throw this game at you. Have you played Toad's Treasure Tracker?
Toad's? No, I have not.
Like, the fancy one came out on Switch. It was originally a Wii U game. And the level itself was kind of like this tower building structure, and it was like floating in the sky, and you could, with one stick, spin the whole level around so you can get better camera angles, and with the other stick was your motion. So in this game, you control both what seems to be a princess and some type of knight. And as the knight, you have this long cape, and it's your job to make sure that the princess doesn't step in any of the mud or any of the puddles or liquid or any other hazards like that may be in the way. However, when this happens, the princess has to step, or the queen has to step directly onto your cape and walk from the cape to another solid part of the level, at which point you will then need to reposition your knight so that the princess can step back onto the cape and then eventually work her way. You work alongside with the queen or the princess to make your way from the beginning of the level to the end. And there's all types of different hazards and dead ends and things like that get in your way to prevent you from being able to make the entrance and then finally make the exit. Once you get the queen or the princess to the goal, then you finish that level and it moves on to the next one, and each one gets harder and harder. And it's not easy. When they say increase in difficulty, they're not kidding. Now, I'm not like the sharpest tool in the drawer, but it definitely increases as you go from one level over onto the next one. And there's all types of little things. The biggest part for me is the positioning of the cape of the knight, because it's super long. And you need it to be long because you have to be able to allow the queen or the princess enough room to be able to walk and traverse over all the puddles to get to the next part of the level. But you can only walk over certain parts of the cape. You can't turn around right away and walk over it. You kind of have to get to a certain part of the cape where you're able to walk across it yourself. And you're constantly positioning this cape through all these different pathways to turn it and get it to just move in the right direction. That way the princess can get on it and you can move. And it's just a constant, move this piece in order to move this piece, and how the two work together in order to accomplish your goal of leaving the level. There's 100 levels on this. That's a lot. That's a lot of content. So you're getting a pretty good bang for your buck. If you like this is very much like a thinking person's puzzle. And I'm just saying, like, listen.
I love that you prefaced it all with like, this
Listen,
is the ultimate puzzle game for me. It's a thinking man's puzzle
I did not.
game,
When did I say this is the ultimate puzzle game for me? I just said
As
I'm
you
not the sharpest
shift up
drawer.
your glasses with your pinky
Oh,
finger.
listen, I'm over. I said I am not the sharpest drawer, the knife in the drawer. I'm not. I said this is difficult. You're over here like I'm saying I'm a genius. No, this is hard. I got to level 3, and I was like, I don't know how this is gonna happen. Like it is no joke. But you're getting a pretty good amount of content for your buck, especially depending on how smart you are or how good you are at these type of puzzles. So if this is the type of puzzle game that you like, then I feel like this is the gold mine for you. And at $9.99, that's really good for the amount of content that's in this game. And it's simple because there's only really 2 things you're doing. You're moving these 2 pieces. There's rules about how they can move, but that's it. There's nothing super difficult in that respect. It's more so the difficulty comes in surveying the level, figuring out what your moves are, and trying not to box yourself into a corner. You do have an undo, but sometimes, if you're like me, you mess up so bad certain points that the undo is not going to cut it. You're going to have to reset and try again. But that being said, I wasn't frustrated. I was interested to see how I was going to be able to complete these levels. So I like this one. This is Puddle Knights on the Nintendo eShop for the price of $9.99. I feel like that price point is good. I like this. I have fun with it. I wish I could tell you more about the music and things like that, but I was so much into the puzzle that didn't really resonate with me as much. So I wish you're spending a good amount of time in one of the puzzle games. I don't know if it's good that I don't remember the music because I was so much into the puzzle, or if I would like to have some music that's really good so I can enjoy it while I'm stuck in the puzzle game, failing at some of the levels. But I never found angry or anything like that. And this game's a little bit a little addictive. So let's go ahead and give this game a 3.75 out of 5. Yeah, don't usually do the the quarters.
No, we don't.
I don't know I'm sure we've done it.
That's interesting. It's interesting that you felt such a way about it. Yeah, it definitely sounds like a better game than mine.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned puzzle, and I was like, this is cool because it's different. It's not like it's not like the other games.
No offense to the makers of Gorsd. 2 interesting and unique puzzle games with 2 very different scores for oddly similar-ish reasons, perhaps. You be the judge, ladies and gentlemen. Let us know over on Twitter at SwitchITUP Show. I have been at Seth Trav. He has been at From the Crib. Together, we are at Preach Network. Thank you. Be sure to hit us up, rate, like, subscribe. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the only way we're going to survive. Please leave us those star ratings wherever you're listening to us. Tell all your friends. And I've got to remind you that if things ever get boring, you can always switch it up.